This episode of Headlock Talk is brought to you by Austin-based company Naturally Hemp's and their new line of CBD gummies. These gummies are made with 100% baked-in, pharmaceutical-grade, non-isolate-based CBD. What we're talking about here is the entourage effect. The entourage effect refers to the stronger effect you get when combining multiple cannabinoids together, as opposed to just CBD. Full-spectrum CBD, or CBD distillate, tends to be more potent and lasts longer. Unlike some other brands that use a spray-on CBD, Naturally Hemp CBD distillate is baked in, so you know you're getting the full dose with each gummy. I personally use them for all kinds of things, like sleep aid or muscle pain. And did I mention they taste great? They got 5 flavors. Strawberry, green apple, lemon lime, watermelon, and get this, the orange flavor has vitamin C in it. Ooh. So, if this sounds like something you could go for, head over to your nearest Create a Sig vape shop and pick yours up today to see for yourself the difference Naturally Hemp's gummies can make in your life.
Wow. Oh, man.
And might I just say, damn.
Yeah, damn.
Wow.
Jeez. Oh, man.
I'm sweating.
Yeah. I mean, I feel you. I mean, and it's not just these Red Bulls that have been kicking in either.
No.
It's, well, welcome everybody to another rendition of Headlock Talk. We're back.
Oh, snap.
Oh, snap. Indeed. Holy cow. What a show.
What a freaking show.
What a freaking show. I'm, of course, your host, the Texas gentleman, Mr. Tanner Pruitt, and to my right here, he is the one, the only, Mr. Stephen Grudy. Damn. We just got done watching AEW Double or Nothing, the first show in their canon of shows here, and yeah.
I mean, if you can't tell, it was a great show.
It was a wonderful show. Man. We are quite blown away here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've obviously got a lot of show to cover here. We definitely want to dive right into it. We're also going to be using this episode as we're covering the NXT Takeover 25 preview. Halfway through our episode here. So definitely stick around and check that out as well. We've got a lot of ground to cover on that as well. But yeah, let's get some of our initial thoughts here about AEW Double or Nothing here, Steven. What did you think, man?
The show was incredible.
Yeah?
I was expecting something big. I was expecting it to be a great show. This blew all my expectations out of the water, honestly.
Yeah.
Just every match was good.
Yeah.
Every match was good. Some matches were great. Couple matches were incredible. And one of the best pay-per-views I remember in recent memory, honestly.
I would definitely agree with that point here. Top to bottom, one of the most solid pay-per-view events that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Regardless of company, definitely super solid in ring work. That's not to say that I don't have some minor criticisms.
For sure. No show's perfect.
Yeah, no show's perfect, but this is about as good of a show.
God damn close.
Yes, absolutely.
Man.
Absolutely. They did the vast majority of things correct here. I do want to ask you a question. For those of our listeners that are primarily WWE fans, how should you feel watching this show or experiencing AEW Double or Nothing, or just AEW in general? Like, because I know that there's a lot of divisiveness between the fan bases right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're primarily a WWE fan, what can we tell those fans out there who are listening to us right now?
I mean, honestly, I've said it on air before. I'm a primarily WWE fan.
Yes.
In the recent months, it's my resolve has been kind of tested. But I'll say this about Double or Nothing, or AEW in general. This felt like old school WWE. It felt like what I consider the golden age. maybe not the golden age, but what I grew up with and what I remember and what I fell in love with about wrestling. Like the early 2000s, basically.
Ooh.
You know, just really solid in-ring work, really solid storytelling going on.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you on those points for sure. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and mince words, right? WWE, if they continue on the path that they're going towards, as a fan who myself personally, I've been a big WWE fan for a long time.
Yeah.
I still enjoy quite a bit of their product, especially when it comes to NXT, NXT UK, 205 Live, etc. WWE, especially if you're watching Raw or SmackDown week in, week out, as a fan, you're going to be taking it a bit on the chin, right? And you're going to be defending, defending that hill for WWE for a while. But I do want to help and try and break down these barriers here in the best way that I can. We as fans should not be even building these barriers in the first place. The fact that there's divisiveness or even camps of people being pro AEW and anti WWE or pro WWE and anti AEW, why not we all just keep into consideration, let's enjoy good wrestling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We should all enjoy good wrestling regardless of the company. And obviously, if somebody does something that deserves some criticism, let's point that out. Companies deserve to hear that feedback in order to better themselves.
For sure.
But you certainly can't help but think that a lot of what happened with AEW Double or Nothing is a direct response to a lot of what WWE's programming has been of recent. So, I mean, it is with that thought that I say, let's try and come together on this and remember that we're all wrestling fans first and foremost. And then
First and foremost, we're pro wrestling.
Yes.
From any promotion.
Yes.
Or any event,
Yeah, if you're putting out good quality product, let's watch that and praise that product. If it's not, like I said, these companies definitely deserve to hear it first.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, let's not go after each other, attack each other, make comments about why do you like this, or attacks or whatever. It doesn't resolve anything.
Yeah, I mean, I love WWE.
Yeah.
From the looks of it, I'm gonna love AEW. That's not to say that I want AEW to take over WWE or vice versa or anything like that. I just want quality matches from both promotions. I want the superstars to really be treated well and really love the career that they're in and everything like that.
Yeah, I think that's very well said, Stephen.
Thank you.
So let's carry on and let's celebrate this experience of professional wrestling and this wonderful show here, of course.
Absolutely.
So AEW Double or Nothing opened with a pre-show, what turned out to be a 22-man casino battle royale. They had they had some interesting rules with this battle royale. It was not a typical battle royal where just all the men are entered in at once. They basically started with 4 guys in the ring, and all the other participants drew cards from a deck, and whatever suit it was matched to, you come out with that group of people.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
I actually missed this one, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So basically, what it boiled down to was MJF looked like a complete star here.
Yeah.
And he was a super duper heel all the way through. We got some.
His heel work's great.
His heel work is great.
Yeah.
We got some great showings from Jungle Boy. Tommy Dreamer was in there. Glacier was in there.
Yeah.
He did a little bit of a mist blow at one point. Did I mention Jimmy Havoc already?
Yes. Or no, I don't think so, actually.
Yeah, Jimmy Havoc. He was running around with the staple gun during the match, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But then, of course, the big one, the big entrant here was Adam Page. Adam Page ultimately won the Casino Battle Royale, which was awesome. That sets him up for a future AEW World Heavyweight title match.
Yeah, well deserved for sure.
Yes,
well deserved.
Absolutely. If they're looking to build a star, Adam Page is certainly the name that you want going up there.
So since I missed this, I just want to ask you a certain question.
Sure.
I know WWE's Battle Royals have been interesting in the past. How does this compare? How did the rule set compare?
It was interesting. They had some difficulties at first because when they called the first suit, it was actually delayed somehow. Like it sounded like they were having some issues, perhaps getting the talent to the ring. I don't know. But overall, after that, things really smoothed out. So the quality of the match was really, really good.
Right on. I'm gonna have to look back and try to watch this because me personally, I'm usually not the biggest fan of battle royals.
Yeah.
I don't know. That rule set seems kind of interesting to me. I'd be willing to give it a shot.
Yeah, no, it was good. I really enjoyed kind of the change of pace there.
For sure.
I mean, we also saw Luchasaurus, who was promoted pretty heavily within the match.
Dude, his ring gear is awesome.
It's
really awesome.
It's pretty dope. Brian Pillman Jr. was in there, of course, the son of late great Brian Pillman. Joey Janela was in there. Billy Gunn was in there. Michael Nakazawa was in there. They had a lot of great talent. And then, of course, Sean Spears, formerly Ty Dillinger, he was in the match too. So definitely an interesting battle royal. If you're looking for a battle royal that's something different, this is definitely one for you. We also got a nice little 10-minute match there to close out the pre-show between Kip Sabian and Sammy Guevara. Both men pretty equal in size and stature. Sammy Guevara and Kip Sabian both really put on a really awesome match for that was about 10 minutes long. You know, I think it got the crowd nice and warmed up. I've seen people say that it wasn't that great. I actually really liked it.
Right on.
So, take that for what you will.
Yeah.
The show really opened here with SoCal Uncensored, which was Christopher Daniels versus Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, who we will be seeing at Wrestle Circus next month.
Yes.
Yeah, super excited. So they took on the Strong Hearts, which was Shima, T-Hawk, and Lindemann in a 6-man tag match. So I know that you haven't seen much of either of these teams.
Right. I knew of Scorpio Sky, and I had seen a little bit of Shima.
Yeah.
But other than that, most of these guys are new to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was your overall takeaway from this match here, Steven? Let's get into the dirty deeds of it, if you
for
will.
sure. No, I really, really enjoyed the match. I thought they all had really, really solid ring work.
Yep.
One of the things that AEW, specifically Young Bucks, were saying at the press conference and through interviews and stuff like that is they're wanting to have the best tag team division in professional wrestling right now. And it's kind of a theme throughout the show that the tag matches on this card are really just on a higher caliber than some of the other promotions that we've seen in the past. And this match was
definitely no exception.
Definitely no exception to that rule.
Yeah.
Really, really solid ring work, and the momentum was really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys definitely impressed me for the first viewing of these guys, for sure.
I agree with you. I think that this was a really hot opener. It definitely got the crowd energized and set the perfect tone for the rest of the night. The pacing was really well. They set it up. All the spots were set up very nicely.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something to expect from, especially Shima and the rest of the Strong Hearts crew from OWE. He's got them in tip-top shape.
Yeah. And I think one of the reasons that I'm not the biggest fan of tag matches is it seems that some promotions will like almost. We always make a joke about it where someone's dead out of the ring. It's a tag match, but it's really only a one-on-one match because 2 of the guys are dead for the last 5 minutes. And so usually, from my experience, when you make it a 6-man tag match, that problem gets even worse.
Yeah.
But this one did not have that problem at all. Like you said, the pacing was really, really good, and they had a lot of multi-man spots that really kept the match fresh and really kept the momentum going in a way that, to be honest, I really haven't seen a lot in tag matches.
Well, and to that point, it made the finish for me unpredictable because I was seeing both teams go back and forth. And I was like, this could really go either way, which I think that makes wrestling even better when it's just like, oh, well, I really don't see who's going to go over in this one.
For sure.
So it was really nice to see that. I ended up giving this one about 3.5 stars.
I also gave it 3.5.
Sweet.
Yes. Yeah, really great match.
Very solid opening. Really enjoyed it. The next match coming up here was Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose versus Kylie Rae. Now, at the start of the match, Brandy Rose came out, and it looked like she was ready. She had her gear on, and she got on the mic, and she was saying, like, I know I told you ladies, that we wanted to, really have a great match, have a good opener for the women's division, but I want more than that. I want an awesome match.
I want it to be awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
And I expected The Miz to come out.
Awesome!
Yeah, exactly. However, we actually ended up getting a really awesome surprise here, which was Awesome Kong.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen her in quite some time.
It's been a while.
It's definitely been a while.
Yeah.
But she definitely added to the match here. The spots that she was in were few and far between. I just don't know if that was just a matter of ring rust or what that is. But
yeah, I mean, I mentioned it in the last match. Some tag matches have the problem of just someone dying outside of the ring. Unfortunately, in my opinion, that's kind of how Awesome Kong was in this match. The spots that she was in were great. The spots that everyone was doing while she was outside of the ring were great, but it's really just hard for me to stop thinking about, oh, hey, this is a Fatal 4-Way match, but there's only 3 people for like 3/4 of the match.
Yeah, true.
But
and I think that there goes some credit to that too. I think what they tried to do is just add the or in this case here, if we're using casino terminology, up the ante a little bit here.
Snap.
Oh, snap. They definitely upped the ante by adding Awesome Kong into the match. But you still had Nyla Rose still coming out looking like a monster.
Yep.
Which I think that was the plan all along here. And I really, really feel like both Britt Baker and Kylie Rae came out looking like superstars here.
Absolutely, yeah. I think honestly, for me in this match, Kylie Rae was the breakout star. She just has a way of really selling her character no matter what's going on. And she was getting pummeled in that match, but I think one of the things they were trying to drive home, and something that she did drive home very well, was the determination of her character and everything like that.
True. And I think Britt Baker did a really good job of being a good heel in a similar way that her significant other, one Mr. Adam Cole, does just throughout the match, kind of doing a little bit of taunting, but also backing up the moves. We also saw a slight reference to Adam Cole's last shot by Britt Baker. So I think that it was a very, very well done women's match. Britt Baker did get the win here. The dentist pins the girl who's always smiling.
Yep.
So there was a little bit of irony there.
Yeah.
I ended up giving that one about 3 stars.
Yeah. When I originally rated it, just based off of all the ring work and everything like that, I went with 3.5 stars.
Okay.
I really thought it was a solid match.
Yeah.
Upon thinking about it a little bit more, honestly, I took off that half down to 3 stars, specifically because of the Awesome Kong kind of dying outside of the ring.
Yeah.
It was really cool to have her out. Everything about the match was great. But it was in the back of my mind almost the whole match,
Yep. Nope, I agree. Still a wonderful surprise. I think we're going to still see a lot of Awesome Kong in the future.
Yes.
She seems to have some connections here with Brandy Rhodes. So I definitely don't think we've seen the last of Awesome Kong just yet.
Yeah.
Following the women's Fatal 4-Way here, we had the Best Friends Chuck Taylor, and Trent Beretta, facing off with Angelico and Jack Evans. Now, this this was also a really good tag match.
100%. Yeah.
Both teams had quite... they had very unique offensive maneuvers, right? And that were very different. There was a lot of styles clash there.
Yeah.
Honestly, no pun intended.
Yeah, there was a lot of moves in there where I really kind of didn't know what I was looking at, and we actually rewound a couple times to see some of those moves. Really, really awesome stuff. A lot of the moves that they were doing, like I said, I really haven't seen before, and it really just gave the match this feeling of explosive-ness, I guess is a good word for it.
Yeah.
Where it's just like action all the time, you know?
True. I really enjoyed this one for sure. I think both tag teams have a solid place, and I know from my experience in viewing PWG, both Trent and Chuck Taylor are awesome singles competitors as well. I think we would definitely expect to see the same thing here from both Jack Evans and Angelico if given the opportunity.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I will say one thing, and this is the smallest nitpicky thing ever. Best Friends and Angelico and Jack Evans, they were all wearing neon green.
Yeah.
And it was very strange.
It was a bit difficult.
As the match went on, it was a little easier, but there was one specific spot where I think, if I remember correctly, it was Jack Evans had Trent Beretta in some kind of leg hold, I believe, and it took me like a triple take to really like see what kind of hold he had him in, just because my eyes were being exploded with neon green. But I mean, that's the smallest complaint ever.
Well, and
it's just a little nitpick, you know.
And I'll nitpick here with you. Everybody wore that same kind of shade. Some less than others. I think the Best Friends had it on the least here, but Angelico and Jack Evans were like bleached in neon green.
Oh man, yeah. It's like they got slimed from like Nickelodeon.
Oh man, yeah. Just personal opinion here. I rather. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of that shade of green. I think it's a little bit tough on the eyes sometimes.
Yeah.
But again, that's just being super nitpicky.
Yeah.
I ended up giving this one actually about 3 3/4 stars here. I thought it was definitely fine. Still keeps up the match ratings here.
Yeah.
Very consistent, very high quality for what we're getting on an undercard. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, no, for sure. I actually ended up giving this match 4 stars.
Oh, the full 4, huh?
Yeah, full 4. The tag moves that they were doing were just really, really solid, and like I said, the momentum of the match was just consistent the entire time. There was always something going on, and coming from some other tag matches, man, that's really, really refreshing to see. You know, just when I think of a really solid tag match, I think of just chaos. You know, just bodies flying, all that kind of stuff, and this match delivered on that. So I'm giving it the full 4. Really, really solid tag match.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely agree with that one there. We did get another surprise after the match here. We actually got the arrival of the Super Smash Brothers, or Super Smash Bros. There. Don't know what the trademark on that looks like. I don't know.
I mean, I'm having it written out like that, Super Smash Brothers. It looks like I'm looking at a Nintendo website. So hopefully they don't get sued.
Yeah,
that seems really shaky territory.
Who knows? I mean, you might have some licensing things going on there
for sure.
The crowd really didn't know the Super Smash Brothers or the Super Smash Bros. I am somewhat familiar with them just based on me having a long history of watching PWG.
Right on.
I know that they've been in other organizations since then, of course, but at the same time, I just don't think the crowd was super duper familiar. A little bit of a vague reference there, but it's a solid arrival, and it's another solid tag team by all intents and purposes there. Like I said, if they've kept up the work that I'm familiar with them from PWG, I think that we're still in for a real big treat.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. The next match here, and I super duper apologize if I get the names mispronounced, but I'm going to do my absolute best here. Okay?
I believe in you.
Oh, thank you. We have Aja Kong versus Aja Kong with Yuka Sakazaki and Emi Sakura on one team.
You nailed that one.
Oh, halfway home.
Yep.
Versus Hikaru Shida, Riho, and Ryu Mizunami.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So we this was a 6-woman tag match. I'm not familiar with any of these ladies.
No, I really haven't seen any of them.
Well, I know that they are all scouted by Brandy Rhodes and Kenny Omega for the most part. I know Kenny Omega was initially the one who... well, let me rephrase. He got his start watching Japanese women wrestling.
Right.
So it made a lot of sense for us to have this particular international flavor, and I certainly wasn't disappointed.
No, definitely not. I thought it was a really solid match.
I heard a lot. There were a few people in the corners of the internet that were like, well, I'm unfamiliar with them, so I'm not really going to rate that match all that high.
I don't think that's fair.
I don't think it is either. But I thought they put out a really, really good match. Mm-hmm. I gave it overall 3.5 star rating there. Aja Kong was beating people up left and right throughout the match. There was really good action by all 6 women.
Absolutely.
And personally, I would definitely want to see more of them.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I ended up giving this one 3 stars. I originally gave it 3.5. There was kind of a weird flub with the I can't remember who pinned who, but there was a 2 count.
Yep.
And the ring
the guy in charge of the ring bell.
Yeah, he rung the bell.
Yeah.
And so it kind of led to a weird, confusing situation. But I do want to give a shout out to that ref for standing her ground.
Yep.
Giving that bell ringer the death stare.
Yeah.
And being like, hey, you're dumb. 2 count.
Yeah, glared at him and held up the 2 fingers.
Mm-hmm. She was like,
count.
let's keep the match going. We're just gonna roll on with that, and I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I'm gonna give the match 3 stars.
Yeah, I agree. And the ladies picked that up pretty well afterwards, even too.
Oh yeah,
like they were like, oh, but the people who thought they won,
mm-hmm.
the ladies who thought they won, they were like, oh, but we got 3. What's the deal? And they really turned the match around after that.
Yeah, they
recovered nicely. Well done. There was that flub, and for that, I'll give that to them. But yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna really knock them for it, just because
their fault.
It wasn't their fault, and also it was handled pretty much exactly the best way you could have handled it. Mm-hmm. So
no, absolutely, I completely 100% agree. Let's talk about this next match here, Steven.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know the one I'm talking about.
I know exactly the one you're talking about.
Cody versus Dustin Rhodes.
Brutal.
It was awesome.
It was amazing.
It was probably, in my opinion, the show stealer.
Yes, 100%.
I really, really enjoyed pretty much every facet of this. This was very old school. Mm-hmm. Like if you went back to late 80s, early 90s WCW style wrestling, mm-hmm. Or even like old school NWA wrestling before that, this is absolutely what you would have gotten, for sure. We can't really discuss this match without also talking about the opening sequence there. Before both men came out, we were treated to the unveiling of some kind of throne, if you will.
Yeah,
a throne with a giant iron cross on it.
Yup.
Not implicit of anything at all.
Sure.
So we get the spotlight on this giant throne, and then of course Brandy and Cody come out to the ring. Mm-hmm. They're out there. They're headed to the ring. Cody looks great. Brandy looks great, and Brandy she opens up the apron from underneath, and she reveals a sledgehammer that's sitting down there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, no significance,
no symbolism whatsoever,
or significance at all.
Yeah.
So she hands over this sledgehammer to Cody, and Cody lifts it up. He's looking at it. He kind of reminded me of somebody. I can't really put my finger on it, to be quite honest. But he heads over to this throne. I don't know. Is this a Game of Thrones reference?
Maybe. Maybe.
I scratched my head thinking.
I think it's a little more meta than that.
Yeah, I can't just put my finger on it. Anyway, he takes this sledgehammer and he hits the chair of this throne, and the giant iron cross breaks off of it.
Yeah, and there's lights and smoke, and the thing crumbles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A very odd, non-symbolic, non-implicit segment at all.
No symbolism whatsoever. I was very confused the entire time.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you, Steven. So...
I mean, are we just going to move on from there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So out comes Dustin.
Yeah.
And Dustin looks in fantastic shape.
Oh, he looks great. Yeah. No, he absolutely looks great.
Yeah, probably some of the best shape that I've ever seen him in.
Mm-hmm. His ring attire was really cool too.
Yeah, I really like the ring attire. Really like the face paint.
Mm-hmm.
So there were, like I said, this was a very old school, hard hitting match here. Mm-hmm. There was great chants by the crowd for Dusty. There were great chants by the crowd for both men.
Yeah, there was a "You Still Got It" chant for Dustin.
Yeah,
I thought that was awesome.
A "You Still Got It" chant. It was absolutely fantastic. Great brawling. Brandy played a great heel by interfering in the match, but then got ejected.
Right.
Dustin got busted wide open from an exposed turnbuckle.
Man.
I will note that it was really cool because they threw the turnbuckle, like the turnbuckle pad, into the crowd.
Yeah.
Whoever caught that.
That is a collector's piece.
Yeah.
Good God.
Keep that.
Yes.
That's going to be worth a lot of money.
100%.
But yeah, that Dustin being busted open like that was like, I thought it was a very nice touch. And it was, while it was hard to watch at points, I thought it drove home even more emotion than what was already in the match.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Even without that, both guys were doing really, really solid storytelling. And there wasn't even really that much dialogue going on. But just what am I trying to say? Their presence and their body language and everything like that really drove home
their demeanors. The
demeanors of them really drove home the storyline that they're portraying. And I mean, even all that aside, the ring work was great. I mean, it was really, really great. Cody, we know Cody's awesome, and he was awesome here. And Dustin, like the crowd was chanting, definitely still has it.
Yep.
Definitely still has it.
I mean, they put on a match where it wasn't like, okay, we have to do a whole bunch of flips. I mean, Dustin did do a flip on the outside, like
he
a
had
flipping
senton off of the ring apron.
Yeah,
that took me off guard.
But they proved that you don't need to have all of that to put on a great, highly entertaining match. They just did all of the basics absolutely right.
Yeah,
and that's all it took. And you know, the blood was awesome. There was blood all over Dustin.
Let me just tell you guys, when we say he got busted up, he was bleeding a lot for about 15 minutes, maybe even longer. There was blood outside the ring. There was blood in the ring. There was blood on Dustin and Cody and the ref.
Yeah, blood all over the mat.
It was crazy. There was...
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think that this was an amazing match. Very well done. I would argue, and if anybody wants to argue against me on this, fair enough, we will have a debate about it. But I think that both of these men, both of these brothers, gave each other their own best match of their careers, respectively.
I agree. I 100% agree. Yeah.
Both guys absolutely killed it. The crowd was invested all the way through. The atmosphere in there must have been amazing. So I can't help but give this match the full 5 stars.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Absolutely. The full 5 stars indeed. I mean, I don't think there's an argument to be had that it is anything less than 5 stars, really. The storytelling that they did, the in-ring work was great, the emotion from everything, and then not to spoil too much, but there was a sign of respect at the end with Cody and Dustin. I won't spoil what that was, but just all around great.
Yeah,
full 5 stars, 100%.
Yep, it was a match that absolutely needed to happen. One that we were both looking forward to, and I think it certainly exceeded my expectations by a pretty large margin.
Absolutely, I knew it was going to be a good match. I did not know it was going to be, I mean, what I wrote here, an instant classic, because I really think it's that high quality of a match.
100%. I 100% agree with you all the way on that. Let's talk about the match, or rather the moment that came afterwards here.
Yeah.
We had the Lucha... Actually, we had not the Lucha Brothers, but before that we had the unveiling of the AEW World Heavyweight Championship.
Yep.
Presented by none other than the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. One of my personal favorite professional wrestlers of all time, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yep, and he got the biggest pop of all time.
Yeah, he got a big reaction.
The crowd ate it up. 100% ate it up.
So Bret's in the ring, and he's presenting the title. He calls out Hangman Adam Page, who won, again, the 22-man Battle Royale at the beginning of the show, during the pre-show, rather. And I think he may have intended to have Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho also come out. I don't know what he was trying to portray there.
I mean, really, I thought it was kind of strange that he called anyone out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that segment really should have just been about the belt, really.
Yeah, but I agree.
I mean, it doesn't, like, take away from the show or anything. It's just kind of what I was thinking in the moment.
I think what this segment really does here is it brought out someone who I think we can expect to see a real star here in the near future. Somebody who's going to be a real top heel in AEW. And again, that's MJF.
Yeah.
MJF came out and he cut a creative, fiery, hilarious promo.
Yeah.
That really put him over as somebody to be taken seriously. Very old school classic heel work being done. He did give us some cheap heat, but it was cheap heat that was done effectively well.
Yeah. 100%.
So
I loved when he stole Bret Hart's
the best there is.
Yeah, he stole that and he's like, no, I'm not gonna say that sucks.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
He kept referring to Hangman Page as a horse.
Yeah, you want to talk about horsies? We'll talk about horsies.
Yeah, he said that he's not a horse professor.
Yeah,
which I don't know what kind of profession that is.
I don't know. It was a great promo.
It was a very good promo. He then got knocked off the apron. Not really knocked off the apron, but he jumped off the apron when confronted by Adam Page finally. And he started walking away. And then he was confronted by Jungle Boy, who had come out. Jungle Boy is also a really awesome talent. He had a really good showing in the Battle Royal, of course.
Yeah.
And
MJF called him a prepubescent teenager.
Yep. Yep. I
said I think he looks like the third Young Buck.
Yeah, he kind of does.
He's got the chops, man.
Yeah, the chops and the hair.
Yeah.
I think he's only about 21 or 22.
He's super young.
He is very young.
Yeah.
But along with Jungle Boy, out came Jimmy Havoc.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, and Jimmy looked like he was ready to fight.
Oh, like menacing as hell.
So MJF ultimately got surrounded by all three of them, Jungle Boy, Jimmy Havoc, and Adam Page, and Jimmy Havoc and Jungle Boy dispatched of them pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Of MJF, rather, that is. At the end, Bret Hart unveiled the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, and man, it looks beautiful.
Boy, is that a pretty belt.
It actually looks like one of the old school and new school brought together. It had it was an actual belt. Like it looked great.
Oh, it looked really, really nice.
And it's huge.
Yeah, that thing is massive.
That thing's really
it's
big.
a really, really big belt. Like, it reminds me of, I mean, not the shape or anything, but just the size of the old World Heavyweight belt.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's just massive, massive belt, and that's kind of what it looks like, you know?
Yeah, no.
I thought it was kind of funny, though, because, they were doing this segment, unveiling the belt, and then MJF comes out, and that whole segment starts. And as soon as Jungle Boy and Jimmy Havoc dispatched of MJF, they cut immediately to Bret Hart holding the title. They didn't waste any time. They were like, all right, there's that awesome thing. Oh, and by the way, here's this insanely beautiful belt, you know?
And there's obvious shades here, too, of MJF and Adam Page are definitely going to be having some programs together here. They're probably, of the bunch, they're probably the two most up-and-coming rising stars out of there. Adam Page being the bigger face, and then MJF being obviously the bigger heel here. So that's definitely going to be something to watch out for. If Adam Page becomes champion, or if the championship eludes him, then we're definitely going to be sure to keep an eye out for MJF.
Either way, I'm sure their feud is going to be something to look out for.
The penultimate main event here, the Lucha Brothers in one corner, the AAA Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks, in the other corner. The story here was the Lucha Brothers have been working their asses off all year long, competing in many matches.
They said they had 48 matches in 2019 alone.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous amount of work.
Yeah,
that's like a match twice a week, or
at least
once
twice a week,
or once every other day or so. So that's crazy. But the Young Bucks have not nearly had that much in-ring action this year. Outside of them actually taking the AAA tag team titles off of the Lucha Brothers, I can't recall another Young Bucks match this year. So the storytelling here was, will the ring rust of the Young Bucks catch up with them?
Right.
And there were parts of it where you were like, okay, well, yeah, they're not entirely on the same page.
Yeah.
But the action definitely made up for it. Pentagon and Phoenix looked like absolute stars throughout the match.
Man, even more so than the Angelico Jack Evans match. This match almost like redefined what a tag team match could be for me, really. They didn't have any of the stupid, this guy's dead out of the ring or anything like that. And then when they set up the storyline of, hey, Lucha Bros are, they're in the moment, ready to go, and the Young Bucks are, maybe a little rusty or whatever, they told that storyline super, super well, and not to the detriment of the match either. Like, all of the spots that they were doing to try to convey that storyline made sense in the momentum and in the match itself,
It was certainly all action, which was great. Really thoroughly enjoyed this match. The closest match that I could compare it to tag team wise this year would have been when the War Raiders took on Ricochet and Aleister Black at NXT Takeover New York.
Yeah.
I would say those are probably on level with each other. Some of the finest tag team action that I've seen all year.
I like that you bring that up, because the War Raiders were originally one of the tag teams where I was like, okay, a staple tag team can put on consistently great matches. That is a possibility. And then now we get this, and that just really drives home that point to me too.
Yeah.
We've been, I don't know, man, WWE's tag matches as of late have been not good.
Well, and it feels like the War Raiders really kind of fell off the face of the earth ever since coming to Raw.
Yeah.
which was not the point at all of bringing them on. That was to embellish the Raw brand and the tag divisions, and they've just dropped the ball.
Yeah, no, the War Raiders moving up to the main roster was a really, really great choice. Not pushing them is a terrible choice.
I think it was a big mistake of them not even going, or of them going to the main roster in the first place.
I mean, I agree with that because I do want to. I love them on NXT.
Yeah,
but
and I want to see them. I want to see them compete. I want to see more of them.
Yeah.
But I feel like them being brought up to the main roster was on a whim and without any planning or decision making, whatever it means.
Yeah.
But this isn't about Raw.
Right.
This isn't about the War Raiders.
Yep.
This is about the Lucha Bros and the Young Bucks, and they put on an amazing match. I gave this 4.5, which I still gave that to Ricochet and Aleister Black versus the War Raiders at TakeOver New York. The one complaint I have, and this is, again, we're nitpicking here.
Yeah.
I feel like the Lucha Brothers should have gone over and won the titles that night. It would have been nice to see a title change.
Yeah.
And obviously with the Lucha Brothers and both of them actually still competing in AAA, I think it would have been fitting and the right thing to do, keeping the titles on the Young Bucks. There's a bunch of question marks as to how often are they going to be competing in AAA. With that being said, who knows? But the Lucha Brothers certainly look great even in putting over the Young Bucks. I think they got over more possibly losing to the Young Bucks than what anybody else losing a match would normally look.
For sure, yeah. I mean, that was really my only complaint with the match as well. I really think they should have dropped the titles here. Young Bucks, they're not like the most established in like the mainstream audience, but with the AEW audience, you know who Young Bucks are. And you should know who Lucha Bros are too, but not to the same extent that you know the Young Bucks. And so I really think it would have been better if the Lucha Bros did go over here and got the titles back. Also, with AEW being brand new, this is their first pay-per-view. They just announced and showed off their title. I don't think it's that smart to put a title from a different promotion on one of your top tag teams. I really think that they should have dropped the titles and then introduced their own tag belts and then possibly put them on the Young Bucks. I just think it's kind of weird. You need to establish your brand before you have other brands being in there.
Right, right. And this might also be, without saying, like, what's the possibility of them introducing the tag titles for AEW later on? Obviously, these two teams are going to be ones that are competing in it. Maybe the story long term is the Lucha Bros actually win the first tag team titles against the Young Bucks in spite of them losing here.
Yeah.
So who knows what the story is going to be? I certainly look forward to seeing what this would happen. But again, that's just a slight nitpick on my part. Yeah. I would have preferred to see the title change hands here.
Yeah. I gave this one a 4.5.
Yeah,
really, really solid work.
Same here.
There's really not much else to be said. Watch this match. It's really, really good.
Really good. Then we have the main event, of course, Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. Let me ask you this: how do you compare this to their match from Wrestle Kingdom 12?
I mean, I won't mince words. Not as good. That's not to say this was a bad match by any means. It was a fantastic match, but
it was definitely different. It was a different feel, a different vibe.
Yeah. The match at Wrestle Kingdom and also the match at was it Dominion?
They've only faced each other once.
Oh, okay.
In New Japan.
Okay. Well, it's just a different vibe. You know, this one was a little bit more just straight up wrestling, whereas the other ones had a little bit more of cerebral kind of stuff and things like that. Not as good, but still a really high quality match.
Yeah, I really liked it. Obviously, the big thing looming in the background is the winner of this match would face Adam Page for the heavyweight championship, and I mean, the commentary team again kind of gave you a tip off about Jericho's new finisher, the Judas effect. You know, is that going to play a part into the match? You know, Kenny did break his nose early in the match there.
Yeah.
And the Judas effect, we'll say this, it certainly played its effect into the finish here, especially considering Kenny's broken nose.
Yeah.
I
thought that finisher was a little lackluster, honestly. Like, I thought it was cool, and he pulled it off really well. And it will probably make a bigger splash once I'm more used to it.
Yeah.
It's just...
It did kind of come out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere, and also I wasn't expecting it. I didn't really know what I was looking for because I didn't know what the move was. After it happened, I'm like, oh, okay, that's the move. And I think in later matches, I'll be able to sit there and be like, oh my god, he hit the Judas effect. But with this one, it was kind of just like, oh, that's a hard elbow. Oh, right. That's his new finish. Okay, I get it.
Right,
you know.
And even I knew what it looked like. But even then, I guess this is kind of where the more WWE fan for me comes out, is like, I wish it was a little bit more played up.
Yeah.
Maybe a slight theatrics, not anything like super crazy, like where you're playing to the crowd on it or anything like that. But I do think it kind of came out of nowhere a little bit.
I do like the move.
Yeah.
I just think that the type of move it is, it doesn't really... It doesn't sell itself very well for like the first time you ever see it, but it is still a solid move. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked it. So I ultimately gave this about 4.5 stars. It was not quite at the level of the first match, though something tells me that these two aren't finished with each other.
Right. No, for sure.
So I do expect for this to be an ongoing program for the future.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho got on the mic after the match and cut a very, very
Fantastic
good promo.
Yeah.
He's
great.
He wanted the crowd to thank him.
Well, not just the crowd. Kenny, AEW,
everybody.
Yeah.
He wanted to be thanked. And
got a shower of booze for that.
Yeah. Someone who didn't want to thank him, and this was the biggest surprise of them all, one Mr. Jon Moxley made his arrival in what was the shock of the night. He came out of the ring. Three streamers were thrown into the ring for Moxley, and he dispatched of Jericho. He dispatched of the referee, and then just when you thought he might have been trying to help Kenny Omega, he tried to, I don't know if he's still calling it the Dirty Deeds or not, but he tried to put a Dirty Deeds on Omega. Omega countered it. They both took a tumble out to the ring. A brawl ensued.
Yep.
All the way up to the production area, all the way up to the big poker chips that were sitting on top of the stage. He got the Dirty Deeds on Omega, and then he planted him almost with an attitude adjustment.
Yeah.
Or all the way to the where they had a crash pad. One could say he gave Kenny an FU.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that I had a smile on my face the entire time that Moxley was coming out, when he was dispatching people during his brawl with Kenny. This is a huge acquisition. I'm so pumped that Moxley's part of AEW right now, and what a huge way to debut. What a huge way to debut. No, let me just come out at the end of your main event and dispatch both guys.
Absolutely.
And have the whole crowd behind me the entire time. I thought it was awesome.
So this basically pieces things together here. Obviously, we're going to see a lot of Kenny and Ambrose. Sorry.
Careful, you're going to get us sued.
Kenny and Moxley.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a lot of them.
Real quick.
Yeah.
4.5 stars.
Yes. 4.5 stars is what I gave for Kenny and Jericho as well.
Yep.
So you've got potentially about 6 top guys, I would say, in the running here. You've got Hangman Adam Page, you've got Cody, you've got Kenny Omega, you've got Chris Jericho, you've got Jon Moxley now, and then I would say, depending on what the situation shakes out here, you've also got Pac.
Yeah.
I would say these guys are the 6 guys worth considering there for that heavyweight title
for me,
scene.
man, there's a 7th one with Jimmy Havoc.
Jimmy Havoc.
I love me some Havoc.
And then possibly even MJF, considering.
I mean, just to put it this way, there is huge talent and a lot of it on this roster.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely didn't make things super predictable, which is great. Overall, this show is an A+. We tried not to ruin any of the results and the finishing for you. Obviously, you can get some subtext by some things that we've said here. But yes, this is definitely a show worth watching, even if you've listened to this before watching the show. So highly recommend this here. Find it in any way that you can. I think it's still available by cable service providers, or if not, you can also catch it on Bleacher Report Live, the streaming service. That's how we watched it. I had problems with my cable provider in trying to order it, which was unfortunate, but I think that's a bit of an isolated incident.
No problems with Bleacher Report Live.
No,
none whatsoever. No buffering, anything like that. So if you want a high quality stream, go to Bleacher Report Live.
Ran very smoothly. I know they had some technical problems in the past, but I think that they were definitely prepared for this one.
Yeah,
and they did a fantastic job in making sure everything ran smoothly.
Do we have a viewer count by chance for Double or Nothing yet? Have they released that?
Not that I'm aware of. Okay. I'm sure that it will do pretty well because it was trending. From what I saw reported by the Wrestling Observer, they were the 3rd most searched item on Google as of Saturday night.
Very nice.
So that definitely doesn't mean that this is a niche thing. This is definitely getting some momentum. There were some things that I think needed some polishing.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of the camera work and the directing really could do some work.
Also think the venue having 2 entrance ramps going into one was a little awkward. Yeah. I think what they were trying to go for was double or nothing, the double ring ramps.
2 tunnels.
But that led to a couple spots where the cameraman was like straight up facing the wrong tunnel.
Right. Well, and Cody and the Bucks, they definitely also said, hey, this is our first show too. Like we're going to take a look back on things. We're going to rewatch the show ourselves, and we're going to learn from the things that we could do better. So hopefully that's one of the things that gets changed up, is a little bit more emphasis on the directing and the camera work.
Yeah.
I also think, and this is again, both of these are very slight criticisms. Not anything I'm too worried about because I know that they'll make improvements as they go. This is again their first show, so I'm not too bothered.
Right.
But I do think that they need to maybe work with the commentary team a little bit here. You had 2 alphas in Excalibur and JR. I know that you really enjoy having JR back.
I love having JR back.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, his voice certainly adds a lot of legitimacy to it for older fans.
For sure.
But
got a couple, oh my God!
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever done that on air, so there you go.
It's a running joke with me and Steve, and the oh my God!
Oh my God!
But yes, I think Excalibur possibly, and this is just my opinion, Excalibur himself could have handled the show all on his own, but that's just my opinion. Having JR there added some legitimacy, and the other announcer, it was a bit shaky. This is, I know, his first ever show in doing that, but he got better as the night progressed. I think the more that he becomes familiar with wrestling, the more he becomes familiar with the AEW product, the better it'll be. So just slight criticisms.
Yeah, one of the
criticisms.
I guess one of the only criticisms I have for the commentary was it was just ever so slightly a little too quiet. The Double or Nothing crowd was eating everything up 100%, and they were really, really loud, which is really great.
Yeah.
But at certain times, you really just straight up couldn't hear the commentary, and that's not necessarily the worst thing, just because you're there for the in-ring talent and the what's going on in the ring. But I do think that the right commentary at the right time can really add to a match. And to be honest, really the whole time I had trouble hearing the commentary. So
well, yeah, and I do feel like I said with JR and Excalibur, they're 2 alphas. Excalibur normally does all the PWG commentary on his own.
Right.
JR, he's he's done commentary forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So he obviously feels his need to make sure he gets his 2 cents across. They're competing for real estate there at the commentary booth. It seems.
For sure.
But I'm quite sure that all of that will shake out as time goes on.
Another thing. One small thing.
But before we depart from AEW,
put the bell ringer on the other side of the barrier. It's so tightly cramped in that one corner that the spots that they do in there are really cramped and awkward looking, I think.
Interesting.
There was only a couple spots, but it was just, I don't know. They're kind of tucked away in the corner, and then anytime you go into that corner, it's super cramped.
Hey, I didn't even really think about that all that much. That's very interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, hey, I mean, maybe that means it's not that big of an issue. If you really didn't think about it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, well, you do raise a good point, though.
I mean, it's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
No,
I get it.
And it did lead to one spot with Chris Jericho announcing himself as the victor and ringing the bell for himself. I thought that was pretty funny, but the spot leading up to that was just kind of like, okay.
True.
Okay.
True.
Yeah.
Let's move right along here. Let's do a little bit of a preview cover here for NXT Takeover 25.
Yeah.
Definitely another highly anticipated wrestling event here. It's going to take place next Saturday, June the 1st, from the Webster Bank Arena in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So I'm really excited for this one here. They have they have some really big shoes to live up for. NXT New York was absolutely ridiculous.
Killer. Yeah.
Up until, I would say NXT New York was on par with Double or Nothing. If not slightly better, in my opinion. There was just some moments, and every match was
I was going to
good.
say that. I was going to say Double or Nothing is almost on par with Takeover, in my opinion. The Takeover, man,
it's good.
I mean, it's one of the best pay-per-views that WWE's ever done.
Yeah, probably the best pay-per-view.
Honestly, really, it probably is the best. So it's kind of hard to say Double or Nothing was that good.
Yeah,
but it was good. It was almost that good.
But here we have NXT Takeover 25. There are some awesome matches here, guys. Yes. Matt Riddle versus Roderick Strong. Oh. That's gonna be a hard hitting contest.
That is a match I didn't know that I needed until they put it on a card, and now I need it in my life. Yeah, that sounds so great.
It's gonna be awesome. Matt Riddle, he's the bro. He's a bro that's gonna beat you up.
Yeah.
And Roderick Strong, he's had some issues with Undisputed Era. It looks like they're moving past that a little bit. But this possibly.
Yeah.
But this is a good opportunity for Roderick Strong to go out there and prove himself for his Undisputed Era brethren.
For sure.
I can't call this one just yet. But I think that this is absolutely a match well worth your time and money here.
Yeah.
Velveteen Dream versus Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze made his return to NXT television there, probably where he rightfully belongs here. I think he understands that he's had more fun and more enjoyment out of NXT than he has on the main roster. And I think Velveteen Dream is the perfect guy to help reintroduce him and elevate him back into that big caliber.
Yeah, I think the hardcore fans would agree with that as well. I mean, when you go to the main roster, you really gotta. I don't know. Tyler Breeze didn't do anything wrong for sure. It's just when you're not pushed, you're not pushed, and there's really nothing you can do about it. And he's a really, really great talent, and if he's going to be given the room to be pushed on NXT, I think that's the rightful place for him to be at.
Yep. I think that's exactly what's happening to the War Raiders right now, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it is, yeah.
But speaking of the War Raiders, they relinquished the NXT Tag Team Championships on NXT TV, which has now opened up the doors to this next match. It is a ladder match for the vacant NXT Tag Team Championships. We've got Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch facing the Street Profits, who had a great series of matches with the War Raiders on NXT TV. That's Angelo Dawkins and Montel Ford. They will also be facing Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, as well as the Forgotten Sons, Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler. The Forgotten Sons, they're doing better. They're doing better.
It's a solid for me, dog.
Yeah. It's a no for me, dog. But yeah, the other three teams are just on another level. This is going to be a true proving ground here for the Forgotten Sons. But Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch are fantastic together. They've had wars with the Undisputed Era. The Street Profits are great. Again, we talked about them with the War Raiders. And of course, Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. What haven't they done in the tag division in NXT?
Yeah, 100%.
Great team. If it was me, I wouldn't be surprised if I defaulted back to Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, and then still initiated programs with the Street Profits as well as Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. This is just me nitpicking a little bit here, but I really would have preferred to have like a greatest hits 4-way tag match, and instead of the Forgotten Sons, maybe, just maybe, try to get Mustache Mountain in here. I'm big fans of Trent Seven and Tyler Bate.
That'd be great.
I know that they're supposed to be staples of the NXT UK division, and they're trying to get that more and more off the ground and get them more exposure too. But man, it would have been great to have been like, did you forget about us?
Yeah, right.
And Mustache Mountain,
that would have been awesome for sure.
Shayna Baszler versus Io Shirai in a singles match for the NXT Women's Championships. You asked me a question earlier. When do I think that Shayna Baszler is going to drop the title? I don't think it is this one.
Yeah. My heart wants it to happen.
Yeah.
I want Shayna Baszler to relinquish the title. Especially, I'd be perfectly fine with Io carrying the title as well.
Yeah.
But I really don't think they're gonna pull the trigger on Io just yet. My opinions of Shayna Baszler aside, her reign has been pretty solid. I mean, she has good ring work, decent mic work, but I don't know. I'm just ready for something new with the women's tag team division. To be honest, I feel like it's
the women's singles division. Rather,
sorry, with the women's singles division. I really just think you need to get a fresh face with that championship.
I think that what they're going to end up doing is, I mean, they made it pretty clear on the latest edition of NXT TV. Candice LeRae had a match, got surrounded by Shayna Baszler and her cohorts, and Io Shirai came out with a kendo stick and helped clear the ring. I think Candice LeRae will ultimately be the one to take the title off of Shayna Baszler.
See, I would almost prefer for Io to take it off of her and then have a match with Candice.
Interesting.
A respect match with Candice. Yeah.
That'd be pretty good.
I think that'd be a really good match.
Or even a three-way. I think
a three-way would be really cool too, for sure. Yeah.
And then the main event here, a rematch from NXT Takeover New York. Adam Cole will be challenging. What? No, you know the thing. Adam Cole.
Baby.
Hey.
Sorry.
There we go.
Sorry.
It's all good. No.
Baby.
There we go. I wasn't trying to get on you. I was just like, where is it?
Boom.
Boom. There we go. Now I've got the song stuck in my head. Adam Cole will be facing Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship. I think this is going to be perhaps an unpopular opinion.
Oh.
Because I love Johnny.
Oh.
I know that he's had a little bit of a knee problem recently, though, as at least what a little bird has told me. I think that the timing is now to put the championship on Adam Cole.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be by some wild shenanigans, but I think it's going to happen. And I think that he's going to hold on to that title for a good long time until Big Daddy Ciampa comes back.
I mean, I would prefer for Johnny to retain here,
Yeah.
But I'm a big Adam Cole fan too, baby.
Baby.
I really think that he would have a solid reign. And, of course, the match with Ciampa would be fantastic as well.
Yeah.
Johnny's such a good champion.
He
He's
is
such a good champion.
You could say he is Johnny
Champion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it really could go either way here.
Absolutely.
And this is, I'd really be fine with it going either way.
Absolutely.
I don't know, man. It's going to be a great match. I'm just waiting to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's undisputed that I will not be disappointed with the result either way.
Yeah. No, it's going to be good for sure.
Well, with that said, let's get our snorkels on here and our flippy floppies, and let's talk about some if wishes were fishes.
Oh, snap.
Oh snap!
Oh,
Going into the water.
I see.
Yeah.
We need to get a sound effect
We
board.
really do. All right, so now that we're in the sea, so
in the middle of the ocean.
in the middle of the ocean, let's talk some if wishes were fishes, Steven.
Yes.
So if wishes were fishes,
Are you going first or am I going first?
I'll go first.
Okay, you go first.
If wishes were fishes, now that we've seen what AEW looks like, now that we know what AEW feels like, if wishes were fishes, I would want to see the partnership finally happen. I think that it's on the walls. I think they both these companies know it, but I think we need the AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling partnership. And what that means for Ring of Honor, I don't know. If they want in on this partnership, that'd be great. So that way, maybe I can see Bandito and Jeff Cobb and Mark Haskins on AEW. I don't know. Maybe that's a throwback to last week's episode.
Yeah.
Maybe I should check that one out. Maybe. But I do think that the more companies that cooperate with AEW, the more exposure that it gives to all wrestling in general, whether that's New Japan, whether that's Ring of Honor, whether that's AAA, whoever it may be. But I think that having guys like Kazuchika Okada come over every now and again, or Tamatonga and Tangaloa come over and compete in the tag division, I think those are really beneficial for AEW and can be really beneficial for New Japan as well.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, if Ring of Honor wants to be a part of this too, even better, because I know that they are dying for some exposure right now. Yeah. And guys like, I know we saw that awesome Bandito Will Ospreay match earlier in the week. I think that he definitely deserves a big spotlight. I think that Will Ospreay, for that matter, deserves to have a really big U.S. spotlight on him too. Will Ospreay's worked his ass off.
Yeah.
All
See,
year.
I really like that wish. Just because, like you said, now that we've seen what AEW is and what it can be a dominant force in American wrestling.
Yeah.
I think they've more than proven that with Double or Nothing, and obviously New Japan has time and time again proven itself as the top in, I guess, the Asian market, I guess. Yeah. And so having a partnership with the two, huge in Japan, huge in America, that's better for everybody. That's better for the wrestling fans. That's better for the wrestlers themselves because they get promotion and pushes, I guess. So I really like that wish. So I'm going to go ahead and give you 8 tuna fish.
Dang, that's a lot of tuna.
It is a lot of tuna. It's a lot of tuna. Because I really like that wish. I think that'd be beneficial to both, for sure. There's not a segue coming if you were waiting for one.
Oh, okay. I was like, man, that's like a lot of like sandwiches I could make.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. You're going to need a lot of bread for
I'm
that.
gonna need a lot of bread for that tuna.
As in money.
Yeah.
Because that wish is money.
Hey,
I made it.
Mission accomplished.
did it. I did it.
Man, that was awesome, Steven. That was truly awesome.
Well, why thank you. So, if wishes were fishes for me, we would get an All Elite Wrestling pay-per-view in Texas. Whether that be Austin, Texas, San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, wherever you put it, I will be there because I need to see a show of that caliber in person. And the last time I went to a wrestling show, I was very, very young, but I love it. I love the atmosphere of it, reacting with the crowd, everything like that. But with how WWE's been recently, I really wouldn't want to go to like just a Raw or a SmackDown.
A WWE type show.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. But if I can get a show of this caliber from AEW in Texas, I would be a happy fish. Super happy fish.
I would be too, and I completely agree with where you're coming from here. I'm actually going to give that 5 electric eels, because that wish is electric.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. How many eels? How many?
5. That's a lot of lightning in that bag of eels.
I like that. Very nice.
Yeah. If wishes were fishes, I know I talked about this, man, just a few moments ago, but seriously, in all seriousness, I was gushing all over the match with Will Ospreay and Bandito that we watched on Thursday.
Fantastic match.
That alone was a 5-star match, in my opinion, also. 100%. So if you guys are keeping track of New Japan this week, Best of the Super Juniors, you've seen 3 nights on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of great action. And even better, let's be real here, if you're not watching New Japan, the Best of the Super Juniors, you should be. You absolutely need to be watching this here. It's quality matches, night after night. You would not be disappointed. And again, it's about $9 a month. And you get all that great action. Every show that they put on, you get access to it, which is a fantastic deal. Mm-hmm. We are not sponsors of them. No. Not by any means. No. We are just promoters of great professional wrestling.
Absolutely.
With that said, if wishes were fishes, I would want Will Ospreay to main event Wrestle Kingdom 14. This is a big year for New Japan, and Will Ospreay has consistently been the best performer all year long, regardless of promotion, in my professional opinion.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay is huge. He's bulked up. He's gaining a lot of weight, a lot of muscle mass. He's changed a lot of the way that he performs and wrestles in the ring. And I think he, of all people, would be the one to dethrone Kazuchika Okada next year at Wrestle Kingdom 14.
Yeah. No, I really, really like that wish. From all the New Japan stuff that I've seen, Will Ospreay is my standout from New Japan, honestly. He's probably my favorite wrestler from that promotion. He, like you said, puts on consistently great matches. And honestly, man, yeah, it's probably time.
Yeah.
Put him in that main event, give him that hard push. He can more than deliver on what you're looking for, you know?
Make it happen.
Yeah, so I think it would be a really, really good idea for New Japan to put Will Ospreay on a perch and prop him up. So I'm going to give that 5 white perch fish.
Ooh.
Yeah. He's also white.
Well, yeah.
It's white perch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
White perch fish.
I guess that works, right? Okay, cool.
Like I said, my segues aren't like yours. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was like, yeah. He is white, I guess.
He's a white guy. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Well, go on then.
Yeah. So, if wishes were fishes, I would have Jordan Devlin join AEW.
Oh, God.
So, I got introduced to Jordan Devlin just recently with the Super Strong Style 16 from Progress Wrestling.
Yeah.
And he honestly is probably one of the wrestlers with the most solid ring work I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I
can't disagree with you on that.
I remember saying out loud and texting you about it that he looks like he's wrestling with cheat codes on. He looks like he's wrestling with auto reversal on. The technicality from this guy is crazy. Yeah. So I would love for Jordan Devlin to be in AEW. I think there's a lot of feuds that you could do with him. And honestly, really, even if I would love for them to push him really hard and make him one of the top guys. But even if they don't, he could be a consistently great mid-card wrestler. So
True. And he does do that for NXT UK, right? Like, I think for what we saw of him in Progress, I think we are already very, very well versed in what Jordan Devlin is capable of.
Right.
I think that he's a fantastic talent, and I think he definitely exceeds expectations. He is up there with Will Ospreay as one of the best performers that I've seen, all year.
Yeah.
The part that's a bit tricky is obviously he's under contract with WWE, and how long that happens, I don't know.
That's why it's a wish.
It is why it's a wish, for sure.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with you. I think that a lot of guys could be better served elsewhere. I will go ahead and give that. I'm going to give that 3 Mako Sharks because it's a bit of an import here into Texas. Whenever you get a fish, if you were to order Mako Shark meat, it's either imported from California or from Mexico. And you know what they say about Jordan Devlin: when he's wrestling in Ireland, he's the import killer, and when he's wrestling in Progress, he's the killer import.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Man. I guess your brain does operate in segues.
It always operates.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, you should ask Michelle what it's like being married to me.
Yeah.
I'm sure she has a great time.
One lifelong segue.
Yeah, essentially, yes.
You ever made a segue on a segue?
I don't think I've ever ridden a Segway before.
Oh, man. Mr. Segway himself.
It might absorb all of my Segway powers.
Oh, I see.
So I might have to avoid that.
You might want to avoid segues. Yeah.
Do you have any other wishes, Steven?
I definitely have some other wishes. Do you want to do some more?
Yeah, let's do one more, just for the heck of it. Why not?
So, if wishes were fishes, I want an AEW streaming service.
Ooh, yes.
Right about yesterday.
Yes, please.
Preferably, it would have the weekly shows on it. I know from a contractual standpoint that might be the hardest thing in the world to do, but I would really, really love that. I don't watch a lot of like the full-length Raw and SmackDowns, but I watch them on Hulu, and it doesn't even necessarily need to be AEW streaming service, but if they have a consistent deal with one of the streaming services to put all the shows on there that you can watch, and then maybe have their own for their pay-per-views and other stuff that they might do, I think that'd be awesome. And this is the age of streaming. This is the age of demand, and everything's moving super quick. Not everyone has time to sit down at the same exact time every week to watch a show. I know I don't. With Headlock Talk, we got a lot of planning going on, and we're busy a lot. So I mean, if you put it on one time a week, it's going to be very hard for us to catch that. So an AEW streaming service would just be the bee's knees.
It absolutely would. And you might as well put a sword through me here, because I'm giving this one here 4 Marlins, also commonly looking like a swordfish. You just got me right in the heart with that one, Steven.
Beautiful. You never cease to deliver on them.
So for my final wish here, if wishes were fishes, we got huge emphasis on tag team wrestling.
Yes.
With Double or Nothing. I obviously, and I called for this a long, long time ago, and I certainly hope for their sake that it happens sometime soon as well. They were talked about at the the pressers and some of the other things going on around AEW weekend, especially with StarCast. I do hope that the revival come to AEW. I think that's going to be a career saver. They had a really good match for all intents and purposes with the Usos, and they beat the Usos on Monday Night Raw. I think that feud is still going to continue, but really and truly, if you want them to actually break their barriers that they have currently and really live up to the biggest potential possible, and I know they have big potential here, they need to go to AEW. Arn Anderson, the legendary Arn Anderson from the Four Horsemen, offered to manage them if they were to come to AEW. I think that'd be a great move, and they would be awesome rivals for the Lucha Bros, for the Young Bucks, for the Best Friends. I mean, you could put them against any tag team in the world, and they're going to do great. So that's my final wish, if wishes were fishes.
I really like that one too. I think the Revival could do like a lot of good in AEW, and especially because the situation that they have in WWE right now. If you believe some of the things that have been online, the situation's kind of crappy.
Yeah,
it's kind of crappy,
unfortunately.
And for that reason, I'm gonna give this one 6 black crappy fish.
Oh, that was pretty good, Steven.
That's probably the best one I've done.
Hey,
that was pretty nice.
That's pretty good. You got 2 really good ones in there.
They're okay.
Yeah, they were good. We've always got time. That's for sure. Speaking of time, it is time for our mailbag section.
Woo!
And yes, absolutely.
Sorry if that was loud. I kind of screamed that.
That's okay.
We'll edit it down.
We will fix it in post. But yes, as we always do, we will close out the section with our mailbag here. We always invite you, the listener, to send in your questions. We definitely want to hear from you, your thoughts, your opinions, and especially with AEW just now closing. We want to make sure that we take in all your questions that you might have about the show or about anything else, wrestling or even non-wrestling related. We're always open to answering your questions.
Yeah, absolutely. We exist outside the world of wrestling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you want a debate over whether or not the moon is made of cheese, we're certainly here for you.
It totally is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, 100%.
So, first question comes up from Protect the Business Podcast. They are at PTB Wrestling on Twitter.
I think this is their second or third question to us.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you for your questions as always. Protect the Business Podcast asks, what was your take on Cody destroying the throne with the Iron Cross?
It's a bit on the nose.
No, you think?
Yeah, it's a bit on the nose. I mean, it's fine. I'm not like...
I really don't know who he's referencing with that. Do you?
God damn it. No, I mean, I thought it was fine. I mean, it didn't like take anything away from the show. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I'll give it that. I thought it was funny. Bit on the nose, but...
A bit.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be obvious. They know what goes on outside the realms. Is it a bit WCW of them to kind of do something like that? Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that as time goes on, I think they need to learn that if we focus on ourselves, the rest will follow suit.
Right.
And if the in-ring action is any indication of what AEW is all about, I think they're in very, very good shape anyway.
Absolutely.
So I think it was a little bit of fun. It's not like
it's just a little bit of fun.
It's not like WWE haven't knocked them.
Right.
So
right.
All's fair in love and war. But with that said, I'm of the personal opinion I don't like seeing divisions within wrestling fans and within the wrestling community. I think we can all just simply come together and enjoy good wrestling.
Yeah.
I think those who are putting themselves into these camps and being divisive on Twitter are certainly in the minority here. I think we can all come together and just enjoy good wrestling in general.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let me see here. Connor on Twitter. Connor is at Connor with a K, KONOR _12, asks, Is Moxley showing up in AEW and FU to Vince and WWE?
100%. I mean, that's what they were going for.
I mean,
to a certain degree.
I think to a degree, yes.
Yeah.
And I think...
I mean, let me rephrase that. I think they wanted Jon Moxley anyway.
Yeah.
Not because that they were necessarily trying to use him as a tool or a sign to be like, hey, WWE, we got him. But that's a good plus of signing him.
Right. And I think that he wanted to be somewhere where he could express himself anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what his whole thing was about in leaving WWE, was he was frustrated with the inability to actually be who he wanted to be creatively. So I think that I think that it was a mutual feeling between he and everybody at AEW that he wanted to be there. Is it an FU to Vince? I mean, it just depends on how you perceive things.
I mean,
He did give Kenny Omega an FU from the top of that poker chip stack down to a crash pad.
Yeah.
So I think it is.
I think it is an FU to Vince, but I don't necessarily think that was the main reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. Here I'll introduce one this time. So we have one. Yeah. So we have one for the MG Experience at Illustrious G40 on Twitter.
Hello again.
Yeah. Hello again. Nice to get another question from you. He's asking us, what was the standout moment from Double or Nothing? It's a very hard question.
There are so many things.
I think the two for me would be the entire Rhodes Clash match. Just that
the Rhodes match.
Yeah, that match was effing incredible. Really, really solid. And then the other standout moment would be Jon Moxley for me. I mean that's huge. That's something we've been wanting for a long time, and to have him come in that way, I thought was really, really cool.
Right. In light of you picking those two,
I guess I did pick the two big ones. Sorry.
No. I mean,
there's plenty to choose from.
Plenty to talk about, obviously. I'm just going to say, for me, it wasn't necessarily just a moment. It was just the consideration that each match was top quality. Like, everything was really, really good. And I will say that, again, this is not intended to be a knock, but again, we criticize when criticism's due. We haven't necessarily gotten the same thing with the competitor product as of right now. The WWE product has not had a pay-per-view like that for a while. WrestleMania was not like that.
I mean, unless you count NXT.
Yeah, unless you count NXT Takeover. Mm-hmm. The main, I guess, I will preface this, the main WWE product has not given us that kind of experience in a long time.
Right.
So I'll say that the match quality was super duper high, and if they are able to, look on this and reflect on it, I would hope that this is the fire under WWE's ass that they needed.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's kind of a cop-out answer.
I'm sorry.
What was the standout moment? Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
That was the standout moment from Double or Nothing.
Oh, okay, fine. You twisted my arm. So, yes, I'll agree with you. The Rhodes match was the standout moment. That was probably the most emotionally driven match that I've probably ever seen.
Yeah.
Was it... The question is, was it as good as Gargano and Cole from NXT TakeOver New York? That's a really tough comparison.
Yes, in a different way.
Really?
Yes. Yes, in a different way.
Oh, man. We're going to have a whole different debate after this. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the match. If I hated it, I wouldn't have given it 5 stars, right? I loved the match. That is the standout moment for me.
Fair enough. Yep.
Let me see here. Okay. Scroll down a little bit more here. Oh, here's a good one. From Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC. They are on Twitter at Knee for Marvel vs. DC. They ask, my question, as good as everyone praises this show, was it really better than the last couple of takeovers? This seems topical.
Yeah.
And would you say AEW is more so competing with NXT than the WWE main roster? Ooh,
that's a good question.
Yes,
real good question.
Very good question. Thank you for the question, guys.
Yeah,
there's a lot to unpack there.
Mm-hmm.
Was it as good as the last couple of takeovers? Well, that would be NXT Takeover New York that we've talked about all show somehow, and another great show, NXT Takeover Phoenix. So if we're looking at those two shows in particular, was it as good as those two? I would say they're about as good as each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Double or Nothing was probably as good as Takeover New York, and probably a little bit better than NXT Takeover Phoenix.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I would, in terms of the three, I would put it NXT Takeover New York first.
Yeah.
Double or Nothing second. Phoenix third.
Yeah, just varies ever so slightly right behind there with that second one.
So, I mean, if we go by the law of averages, yes, it was as good as the last couple of takeovers. I do believe that. Would you say AEW is more so competing with NXT than WWE's main product? So that's kind of an interesting question. I think in terms of getting eyes on the TV.
Yep.
I don't think that they're competing with NXT necessarily for the casual fan. For the hardcore fan, yes. NXT is the best product, in my opinion, that WWE has right now. And I think it's really the only one that is on caliber or on par with what we saw from Double or Nothing. So, yes and no. In terms of like the business, it's competing with WWE's main product. But in terms of actual entertainment for the hardcore fan, I would say it's competing with NXT. So,
yeah, I mean, I think in-ring wise they're competing with NXT because NXT just puts on spectacular shows on a regular basis, right? Like they always, live up to expectations or exceed expectations.
yeah.
But as far as their direct competition, when they hit TNT, they are directly competing against what WWE's main product is.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think, in a way, they're competing on two different fronts against the same company.
Yeah. I can see what you mean by that.
Yeah. I would say, and I think the guys in NXT are going to be more than happy to stand up to the challenge. What happens with the main roster remains to be seen. So I guess we'll take it from there. Mike Charlotte, as always. Hello again, Mike.
Hello again, Mike.
Nice to be hearing again from you. He asked a series of questions again, and I always enjoy answering them. So Mike is at MikeJC821 on Twitter. First question: do you guys think Vince watched Double or Nothing? And if he did he blow a gasket at the throne destruction, or did he not even get it because he's Vince? LOL.
I like that. I like that question.
I don't think he personally watched it,
Right.
But I know for sure that a ton of people in the company watched it.
Yeah.
I'd probably even go as far as saying Triple H himself probably watched it.
Yeah, I was pretty much going to say the exact same thing. He didn't watch it, I don't think, but he damn sure has heard about it.
Oh yeah,
he's
got people telling him what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, and let's be honest, Vince probably most likely doesn't even watch NXT or NXT UK or to a degree maybe even 205 Live. He
if he doesn't watch NXT, he doesn't watch 205 Live. I can say that.
Well, yeah,
I think.
Which is, that point in of itself is kind of sad, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is.
Let me see here. He says, okay, serious question now. This is still Mike here. Did you guys see the pure excitement on Moxley's face like I did? He looks rejuvenated. Absolutely.
Yep.
100% agree with that. He looks like he's having a lot of fun, and I think he's found a really good home to be in. Absolutely.
And I really like just like the faces he was making and the body language he had. We're getting Jon Moxley wanting to be Jon Moxley and being able to portray that character how he wants to, and I'm really excited for that. And like you said, Mike, you definitely could see that on his face for sure.
One last question here from Mike. He says that he spoke to a few people who thought the blood in the Cody versus Dustin match was unnecessary, but I disagreed because it drove home the emotion of the match. Do you guys agree that the blood was necessary? Forget the fact that he probably cut himself too deep and that the blood was everywhere.
We talked about this a little bit already. Spoiler alert, we look at y'all's questions before we answer them. But
oh man, we're breaking the fourth wall.
I know. Well, not all the time. It's usually I'll just like check the thread and read a couple questions. And,
look, it's a question.
And start thinking about them. But so we talked a little bit about it before. I don't necessarily think that the blood was unnecessary or necessary. I think the match itself kind of stood on its own as a really, really solid match. However, I do agree that the blood added to the emotion of the match.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a great match without it.
Yeah.
And it is obviously a fantastic match with it. Do I think it was a little overdone? Absolutely. There was so much blood, y'all. There was a lot of blood.
I didn't think it was too much blood. Now I don't want him like a stuffed pig.
Yeah.
You know, like I've seen some Eddie Guerrero, you know, rest his soul, and John Cena moments where they've gone way past where they should have gone. In terms of blood. But I do think that it hit the right tenor.
Yeah.
And did it add to the match? Certainly. Would it have taken away anything if they didn't have blood? No, I thought the match was headed in a great direction
Absolutely.
anyway. But man, did it drove home a lot more emotion into that match.
For sure. Really the thing that got me with the blood, and again, I'm not saying it shouldn't have had the blood. I thought it was cool. Really the thing that got me, though, was like, usually when you have a spot with blood or spots with blood, it's preferably for me, it's like, oh, he's bleeding a lot, and then that spot kind of dwindles out, and then he maybe stops bleeding a little bit. He was bleeding a lot for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
He was pouring blood off of his face.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they needed that amount to drive the point home. But at the same time, it doesn't hinder it. So I'm in a very weird camp with this one. I do think it could have, they could have had a little bit less blood, but I don't think it was overdone necessarily. I don't know.
And I saw a picture of him after the match. He was nice and safe. I don't think there was anything truly to worry about there.
That's good.
But he got himself good.
It was a lot, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But to Mike's point, I do 100% agree with the fact that it did add a lot of a big emotional factor to the match, for sure.
100% agree.
Yeah.
100% agree. And with that said, let's go home, Steven. We certainly appreciate all your questions that you've had for this week, and we appreciate all of our listeners.
Absolutely.
Every single week, you guys amaze us, and we thank you guys for always tuning in. If you haven't subscribed to Headlock Talk yet, please do. You can find us in a bunch of different places. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Stitcher, and you can also find us on YouTube. So if you will be so kind, please go ahead and click that subscribe button on any one of those or each of them.
Some of them are join, some of them are follow, some of them are subscribe. But do the thing.
Click the button and
do the thing.
Do the thing. Send us a video of you giving us a dance after you've clicked that subscribe button. That'd be surely appreciated. We'll give you guys a huge shout out. We'll retweet you on Twitter.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Twitter, you can find us at Headlock Talk. Again, that's at Headlock Talk on Twitter. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, I do want to mention about our Twitter account. We are just a hop, skip, and a jump away from 1,000 followers on Twitter. So thank you guys so much. It's really awesome, the support that we've been getting there.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Maybe one day, the more and more followers we get, we'll give you all a face reveal or something like that.
Oh, maybe.
Or do some giveaways.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool.
Absolutely.
We're also working on a few interesting things here. We've come up with some t-shirt designs. We've also got some big plans. So let's see where the future shakes out here.
Yeah.
We will be giving you guys, obviously, a review of our journey to Wrestle Circus on the 23rd of June.
Yes.
So be sure to tune in for that. If you have questions in the future for our mailbag section, we absolutely love hearing from you guys. We love always interacting with you guys online on Twitter. And once again, sincerely, like Steven said, sincerely thank you guys for checking us out, being so supportive, helping our followship grow. We love supporting the wrestling community. So again, thank you guys for listening. I've been the Texas gentleman, Mr. Tanner Pruitt, and to my right, as always, the one, the only, Mr. Stephen Grudy.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys again for listening, and have yourselves a wonderful Memorial Day weekend.
Later, y'all.
Later.